Hello, I'm Dante Darby with MUO. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Meebook M6, an ultra-compact portable e-reader with the ability to download just about any application you could want because it's running Android 11, and the ability to read just about any document you could want as well. It comes in as super functional, super portable. Let's go ahead and take a deeper look. The Meebook M6 has been developed by Haoqing Tech, adding just another e-reader to their lineup. This time, this one's gonna give you something a little bit different. It's gonna give you that ultra portability with no restrictions and some updated features as well. Packed into a 6-inch HD e-ink tablet, we've got a 1.8 gigahertz quad-core processor with 3 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of storage. Now the storage is expandable by up to 1 terabyte. I managed to test a 128 gigabyte micro SD card on my copy. Worked completely fine. I was able to move files onto there and read off of that as well. The display is going to be 1448 by 1072, giving you a PPI or pixels per inch of roughly 300, which is going to make it a sharp and enjoyable viewing experience. Possessing warm and cool color presets and the option to customize both color and temperature and backlight brightness, it definitely leaves you feeling in control. Running on Android 11, the device feels sleek and modern from the inside out. Additionally, we've got Bluetooth 5.0, USB-C, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and a 2200 milliamp battery with a standby time of 5 weeks. The device overall seems to be a solid addition to the Meebook lineup, giving users the option of absolute portability and few restrictions. Let's dive a bit deeper and talk about the user experience. Starting with the design of the Meebook M6, we've got a matte finish for the 1448 by 1072 HD display. This is going to lead to a sharp, enjoyable reading experience with minimal ghosting, though we will talk a little bit more about that in a second. For the power button, we've got the power right at the top, USB-C and easy to access micro SD card slot right at the bottom, expandable up to 1 terabyte once again. So really awesome to see that. It's definitely future-proofing yourself a little bit. At this point, most of my devices are using USB-C, but I'm really curious. Comment down below how you feel about that, because I'm curious to see what everyone else thinks as well. Personally, I move on to USB-C and pretty much all my devices use it. Now, when it comes to the back, it is nice aesthetically. I do like it a lot, but it's very slippery and, for lack of a better word, very droppable. Once you've got this case on here though, you're gonna get a much better grip. Aesthetically, I love the case. It could be a little bit more comfortable in the hand when you've got it folded like this though, when you're actually holding it, because there's a little bit of a gap for the case. But overall, I am happy with the case. It gives you that functionality and protection. It's also going to give you that aesthetic. One small thing, but it's definitely appreciated. When you have the case on and you open it, it will wake automatically, which is really cool. So sometimes every once in a while, when I notice I went to go boot up the device, it wouldn't boot on immediately. When I have the case on, it just feels a lot more responsive if I just want to open it and start using the device. And when it comes to protection as well as the functionality, I definitely think it's worth it. And aesthetically, it's pretty awesome. The reading experience was very solid. The display at times was not the most responsive. Every once in a while, you do run into some delays here and there, but overall, solid reading experience. You're going to have control of color temperature as well as brightness. You will have custom options, as well as some presets, though for the presets, day worked great. Night was a little too orange for me. Bed was also solid if you want something that's backlit, but not too bright. So overall, customize was my favorite setting, where I could actually go and not only select my color temperature, but how bright the backlight is. Though I will be honest, my preferred reading method would be with no backlight, as it just feels more natural and is a better reading experience for me personally. Now, when it comes to the user interface, once again, typically it is responsive. When it comes to some of the applications I ran, like Viz Media, I wasn't able to get that to load at the time, but I was able to get a manga reader as well as DC Universe to work, and I was able to test out a couple things, reading some comics and some manga. It was a very enjoyable reading experience. For the standard book format, it's solid, tried, true, and tested, so I wasn't disappointed there either. All in all, the reading experience was very solid. I was not disappointed. User interface had its moments and its quirks, but when it comes to reading manga, comics, and regular book format that's tried, true, and tested, you're not going to be disappointed. When it comes to Also being able to listen to music in the background while you're reading, I'm a huge fan of that. We'll talk about that a little bit more when it comes to the software, because like I said, there are a lot of features built into here that I think a lot of people could appreciate. And as expected, applications like Audible work like they should. Although there are many different ways to get audiobooks on here, I also recommend you doing your own research, and you can also download those directly as well. Now let's talk about the exciting aspect of this. The software support is phenomenal. Though at moments you are going to be pushing the HD e-ink display to its limits, I am absolutely blown away with what it can do. Video as a whole is not really playable. Too much flickering, inconsistent frame rate, but the music application is really awesome. You can play music in the background while you're reading. You can download a whole library of MP3s to the device and save some battery life on your phone as well if you're traveling. When it comes to different applications like web browser or calculator, unless you're specifically trying to go read something in the web browser, like once again, videos, no dice. Web browsing in general is not the smoothest, but once again, you're buying this device for its reading capability. It's an ultra compact e-reader and it shines at what it does and gives you a little bit more on top of that. With that, I was able to play a few games. For example, Tetris, I will not be returning to play for fun. Very challenging with the refresh rate, with the frame rate issues. There are certain games like word games, for example, that will run fine. Tested Candy Crush, absolutely don't do it. Just to give you an idea, productivity options for Excel, Gmail, or if you want to download an application to read the news, it's all going to be there for you and you're not going to be disappointed. You also have, of course, Audible, other applications like that. Manga Plus is what I chose to test out the manga on. I was very happy with it. DC Infinite for comic books was really awesome as well. Only application that gave me an issue, and you'll see that there. So sometimes you will get a little bit of a miss input where you try to do something, it does something else. Not too common. And all in all, Wi-Fi Book Transfer 2 and Google Drive, super easy ways to get files onto the device however you'd like. You know, you're not going to be disappointed in terms of functionality when it comes to software. Once again, it really comes down to the e-ink display in terms of what doesn't really work. The device is definitely capable of it. Up here, we've got your home, back button, refresh, and as well as the brightness settings that you can control too. That's all going to be on the top left. Top right, drag this down. It's going to look a little familiar. It's an Android device. You're going to have the ability to change the A2 refresh rate, which basically allows you better web browsing. I used it for manga and comics because it felt smoother, though it did introduce more ghosting. You're also going to have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and sound that I mentioned if you do connect an audio device to this, as well as the ability to control the 256-bit for comics or even for manga. I left this on. It does help a little bit. It just makes it a better reading experience. You can also control your contrast right here. It's pretty much it, except for the task manager equivalent here, which is really nice to just open up all the applications, clear it out with the press of a button, increase that performance. I just cleared up some storage that was being used. So all in all, software is definitely going to be impressive. Once again, moments where it may not work the best, but I wasn't disappointed. And I will say you probably won't be either. If you're buying an e-reader and want to get a little bit more with it, you're definitely going to be happy.